Bangladesh is a low-lying land comprising mainly the delta of the Ganges and the Brahmaputra rivers. The geographical location, with low, almost flat topography, very high population density, rising sea level, increasing salt water intrusion, storm surges, increasing frequency in tropical cyclones, floods, droughts and erosion, have made it one of the most vulnerable countries to climate change, especially in the coastal regions. In 2001-2005, CARE Bangladesh undertook a project focusing on the southwest Bangladesh called Reducing Vulnerability to Climate Change (RVCC), funded by SIDA and implemented in 6 southwest districts: Shatkhira, Khulna, Gopalganj, Norail, Bagerhat and Joshore. The objective of the project was to improve adaptive capacity of vulnerable households, develop and adapt community-level adaptation strategies, build awareness and advocate with the government to address the issues of increasing waterlogging and access to safe drinking water. In August 2008, members of the Advocacy Unit and Center for Global Change, the national think tank on climate change issues, undertook a study in the project area to understand which strategies worked for the poor and which strategies were easily adapted by the communities. The amount of agricultural lands in the Joshore and Shatkhira districts had been greatly reduced due to excessive and continuous waterlogging. Project participants were trained on alternative farming technique, namely dhap chash or floating garden. A floating garden is built using aquatic weeds as a base on which vegetables can be grown. This approach can extend the growing capabilities of rural communities where land would otherwise be unavailable. It is cheap and sustainable. Crops that can be produced include kangkong, lady's finger, gourd, brinjal, pumpkin and onions. Eventually, the raft will decay and cannot be used any longer. The rafts can be used for summer and winter crops. Vegetables are harvested 2 or 3 times a week or when there is particularly of very high demand. Ismail Hussain from the village of Trimohini in the district of Joshore received training on floating garden in 2004. He is successfully continuing the method. Besides, he is training enthusiastic farmers and rendering them assistance to make floating gardens. This alternative technique is helping people grow vegetables to meet their own demands of food, and at the same time they are earning sufficient income on the sale of the produce. Shoshadanga is a village in the district of Shatkhira. Shrimp enclosures are a common sight in this area, though they have suffered heavy losses due to their shrimp harvest being struck by white spot virus disease. As a result, Shabita Rani Gayan and her sons took training on cultivating crab through RVCC project. The fattening is essentially the rearing of recently molted water crab, immature female crabs and crabs with broken legs to hard-shelled gonadal mature crabs. Since feeding is simple and the fattening cycle is short and generally lasts for 1 to 2 months, and the optimum temperature and salinity ranges recommended are 12 to 25 degrees centigrade and 15 to 30 ppt respectively, is found in this region. Crab fattening is becoming very popular. Shobita now buys tender crabs from market and fattens them in her own pond. She sells the fattened crabs at competitive price in the market. She says crab cultivation is easy and profitable. Nowadays, crabs are being exported. Many people have become inspired to cultivate crabs now. Mele cultivation has got popularity in Greater Khulna region. The soil of Khulna has become brackish and mele can grow well in brackish soil. Mele is used for producing mats that are widely used for sitting and sleeping. Bishakha Rani of the village of Krishnanagar in Shatkhira has cultivated mele in her 1 bigha land and made a handsome profit of 10,000 taka this year. Many poor people of this locality have found making mat with mele as their alternative income source. Increased frequency in storms and cyclones are being experienced by the people in the coastal regions. But Nilima of village Krishnanagar in Shatkhira is more confident than the others. The storm-resistant house which she lives in was one of the designs developed during the RVCC project. Potable water crisis is a serious issue in the southwest region of Bangladesh due to increased saline water intrusion. The project emphasized on rainwater harvesting to ensure access to safe drinking water. The water from the tinned roof is channeled through a trough to a pipe. This pipe is linked to a big-size pakka container under the ground. Since this is sealed, there is no scope for mud and other elements to enter the container. The villagers collect this preserved rainwater all year round by the tube wells connected to the container. To increase the knowledge level of the people of the Southwest on climate change, a comprehensive awareness program was undertaken by RVCC project. Over 1 million were made aware of issues around climate change through a variety of tools, including a school curriculum-based formal educational program, grassroots information sharing by the use of folklore, CBO outreach through published and unpublished material, and a radio broadcasting program. As an activity of RVCC project, the students of 60 schools across the southwest Bangladesh were given special education on the effects of climate change to make them conscious. The Education Board of Joshore gave approval to include the lesson into the syllabus of class 6 to 9. Moreover, the project arranged drawing competition and other cultural competitions on consequences of climate change in those schools. The students discussed the issue with their parents at home. Thus, guardians of the learners had awareness of it too. During the filming, we met with Siddhartha Roy, now a student of class 10, who proudly showed us the well-preserved prize book and certificate which he had received during the school program in 2005. The project worked closely with 14 union Purishods. The focus was to increase the understanding of vulnerability to climate change among local government representatives and integrating the issues into local planning mechanisms. At the end of the project, all 14 targeted union Purishods had developed 3 years development plans, taking into consideration issues concerning adaptation to climate change. The plans included specific actions to address waterlogging and salinity by re-excavating canals, construction of culverts, etc. CARE's broad response to climate change is commensurate with the scope and severity of the challenge. In keeping with our core poverty-fighting mission, CARE's focus is on helping the most vulnerable communities to adapt to the unavoidable impacts of climate change, and we will continue our efforts by innovating, communicating, and collaborating.